Lutris Pharma is developing novel topical therapies that significantly neutralize this side effect and enable patients to adhere to effective anti-cancer treatment with EGF receptor inhibitors.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. Joining me today is Lutris Pharma CEO, Dr. Noah Shelach. Noah, very good to meet you. So for viewers not familiar with the company, tell us a little bit about Lutris Pharma and what you do.
So Lutris Pharma is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company which was established in 2016 with a goal of improving anti-cancer therapy effectiveness as well as the quality of life for patients affected by certain severe dermatological dose-limiting toxicity. It is called acneiform lesions, and it is caused by treatment with epidermal growth factor receptor inhibitors or with radiation. To emphasize, we are not talking about acne, but rather a rash that reminds us of acne, and that patients who manifest these skin lesions are uncomfortable, embarrassed, and bear the stigma of cancer. Specifically, dermal toxicity is the most prominent adverse reaction of EGF receptor inhibitors therapy, often limiting anti-cancer therapy adherence. Lutris Pharma is developing novel topical therapies that significantly neutralize this side effect and enable patients to adhere to effective anti-cancer treatment with EGF receptor inhibitors. Since the indication relates to oncological patients, Lutris Pharma has received waivers from the FDA, and as a result, the development pathway to approval is accelerated.
So your lead asset is LUT14, and you have a couple of clinical studies underway at the moment. So you've got the phase 2 clinical trial on metastatic colorectal patients, as well as the completed phase 1/2 study, and that's for breast cancer patients. Tell us about those studies and where you're at with those.
So LUT14, as you mentioned, is a topical BRAF inhibitor. It is a proprietary first-in-class small molecule designed to allow administration of EGF receptor inhibitors to patients without interruptions caused by typical cutaneous side effects. By reversing the inhibitory effect of EGF receptor inhibitors in the skin, LUT14 decreases dermal toxicities associated with this pathway, and thereby reducing acneiform lesions associated with this therapy. In October 2024, Lutris successfully completed enrollment of 117 patients in its international phase 2 trial of LUT14 in patients with metastatic colorectal cancer treated with EGF receptor inhibitor therapy who developed dose-limiting acneiform rash. We also completed a phase 1/2 clinical study in radiation dermatitis in breast cancer patients. While the results were impressive, the trial was conducted with a small number of patients, and we are not currently actively pursuing this indication.
You also, in the end of January, secured $30 million in financing, Noah. How will you be using that to take the other trial forward?
So we were very pleased with this financing, which was successfully completed based in large part on our excellent phase 2 results. And in a difficult environment, the round was led by Columbus Venture Partners and Pontifex Venture Capital, that they are an existing investor. And additional VCs joined, Peregrine Ventures and a Moon Fund also participating. This financing enabled us to continue the clinical development of LUT14 funding the company through phase 3 with the goal of ultimately commercializing this much needed treatment for acneiform rash to improve patients' quality of life and enable adherence to EGF receptor inhibitors.
Noah, how big is the market that you're seeing for LUT14 in this indication?
The market size for LUT14 for this indication only is estimated at $1 billion based on market analysis that was conducted by Trinity. This estimation does not include the additional sales of EGF receptor inhibitors due to increased adherence to this drug. So the real potential is higher, comprised of direct sales plus increased sales of the EGF receptor inhibitors by at least 30% by increasing the patient adherence to anti-cancer treatment.
Noah, as you move towards that phase 3 clinical trial, what should investors be looking out for?
So we expect to report top-line results from our phase 2 trial in patients with metastatic colorectal cancer treated with EGFRI therapy who developed dose-limiting acneiform rash during the first half of this year and are planning to present our data at a major medical meeting. So we encourage everyone to stay tuned for that. Based on the meeting with the FDA, we will design our phase 3 trial and expect to begin the trial by the end of this year. The phase 3 trial could take around 2 years to complete. So results could be released in 2028 and the market approval could happen in around 2029.
Well, no, I hope you'll keep us updated on any progress with that. Thank you very much for the introduction today.
Thank you.
That's Lutris Pharma CEO, Dr. Noah Shelach.